you're new to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you're a returning viewer or a subscriber, then cheers to you. Thank you always for taking the time to watch my videos. Grab yourselves a hot cup of tea or coffee, your favorite cozy blanket, and let's get into it. Hola amigos, si eres nuevo en mi canal, bienvenido. Si eres un suscriptor, pues brindar. Gracias siempre por tomarte el tiempo para ver mis videos. Coge tu taza de té o café y su manta más calentita y empecemos. I've studied Spanish for 9 years. I started learning the language in school and then continued to study it throughout university. And since graduation, I've made it a point to keep up with my studies. It's not only about learning the language, it's about learning and appreciating a new culture and being able to talk with so many more people all over the world. Because I study and speak Spanish, I'm able to go to so many different countries and speak their language. And it's helped me to just make so many new friends. I think that learning the language is a really great thing for anyone to take on. So friends, how do we maintain our language learning skills post-graduation? In this video, I'm going to share with you how I've kept up with it all, but please feel free to share your own tips down in the comments. And it goes without saying that these tips aren't limited to Spanish. Everything that I talk about in this video is applicable to really any language that you're learning. So without further ado, let's get to it. So my most favorite way to keep up with my Spanish is perhaps most predictably reading. It is so fun reading Spanish translations of my most favorite books. I definitely recommend picking a book that you're very familiar with. If you already know the story or the plotline, then you're going to be better equipped to figure out what's going on no matter your language skills. My go-to books are the Harry Potter series. I have the illustrated English editions as well as the Spanish translations, and I love to sit and read the translations on top of the illustrated books so that if needed, I can refer to the English text to figure out what a word is or what's going on, and then also the pictures really help for guidance. It is honestly so much fun. There's something special about taking a story that you love and are so familiar with and reading it through a totally different language. It's just a really cool experience, and you'll notice all sorts of things about the story that you hadn't appreciated before. Now, when reading in a different language, it's really important not to get too caught up on translating. If you get stuck on just translating every single word, you're not going to enjoy the story. It's actually best to keep your translating to a minimum. Just try and take in the story and let your brain process what's happening. If you feel stuck and like you really don't understand what's going on and just need to translate, take it one page at a time. So read the entire page before defining any words. Once you're finished with the page, go back and look up the words that you didn't know. Once you're comfortable with this, try and extend it to a couple pages and then eventually a chapter. You'll enjoy the story so much more this way, and you'll actually be really surprised by how much you really know. My next tip is to watch your favorite shows or movies in Spanish. I'm also open to any YouTuber recommendations. This is just a really great way to practice your listening skills and then also pick up on casual dialogue. I find that children's or family movies are the easiest to understand. But if it's totally weird watching your childhood favorite movie or just a favorite movie in another language, take it 10 minutes at a time. Just like taking it one page at a time with reading, take it section by section with watching your movies. If you can, set the language to Spanish without subtitles and just watch 10 minutes one day, take a break, watch 10 minutes another day, or you can tackle the whole video. It's whatever your preference is. If you can't get through it without subtitles, try adding subtitles in the language that you're learning. And then if you still feel totally lost, go ahead and add your native language subtitles with the foreign language being spoken. Or at the bare minimum, you can watch it in your native language and add your foreign language subtitles. Something is better than nothing, and I think you'll be surprised at how good it feels to watch your favorite movie in a foreign language. Another great way to practice Spanish or a foreign language is through apps or playing games. Duolingo is a super well-known and great app for learning a new language. They also have a very versatile free version. Some others are Babbel and Memrise or Memrise. Also, if you have an up-to-date iPhone, you can actually go in and adjust the language setting for individual apps on your phone. So if you have a game that you love playing and you're already super familiar with, I recommend going in and changing the language setting to whichever language you're trying to learn. This actually quite nicely segues into my next tip, which is to set your phone in Spanish or whichever language you're trying to learn. I know, this seems like a really big leap, but stick with me on this one. I set my phone to Spanish 7 years ago, and at the time, I really wasn't familiar with the language. But now, whenever I pick up my phone, my brain automatically switches into Spanish. In fact, I don't know a lot of the setting words in English because I'm so used to them in Spanish. Also, doing this makes it so that I'm actually looking at Spanish and interacting with it every single day. And so this is my favorite tip. And it's not as big of a commitment as you think because, as I mentioned before, you can go in and individually adjust the language settings for different apps in your phone. So if you have an app where it's absolutely essential for you to know every single word exactly as it is, just go in and switch it to your native language. A lot of times when I download a new app, I'll set it to English, get to know the app, and then I'll switch it back to Spanish. This has been really great practice for me and is also just a great deterrent for if anyone were to ever steal my phone, they have to be able to speak Spanish in order to do anything. Moving on, another tip is to use workbooks. I don't know if this is unique to me, but I actually really enjoy working through foreign language workbooks. The activities are fun for me. There are a lot of crosswords or word searches, spot the differences between two pictures, unscramble the words, stuff like that. I find it super entertaining. Workbooks have been the most helpful for keeping up with grammar, and it's also just really good practice to continually write in the language that you're learning. I so highly recommend the Spanish for Dummies series. It's just the right mixture of challenging and fun. Huh? Yeah? Super cool. Something I've always done behind the scenes with all these different tips is to create a master flashcard set. So when I'm reading books and learning new vocabulary that way, I make notes in a flashcard deck. Or when I'm watching my favorite movie in Spanish, I also make notes on flashcards. Learning new grammar tips and techniques. Flashcards. They don't have to be super detailed or even organized, just a place to put everything so you can refer back to it and then also just admire how much you've learned over the years. So for the past 5 years, I've kept up with a Quizlet account, and I cannot even begin to describe to you how satisfying it is to see everything all in one place and just to see how much I've learned. Also, I like to sometimes challenge myself to redirect attention that I would normally give to Instagram or other social media platforms to studying a flashcard deck. So like if I'm waiting in line somewhere and I get the urge to check Instagram, I'll just open up Quizlet instead and just go through some flashcards. I challenge you to, for a day or even just an afternoon, anytime you try and get on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or TikTok, any of the social medias, instead open up Quizlet and go through a flashcard deck. Once you get through the deck, go ahead and do whatever you wanted to do before, but you'll feel so much better after a bit of language learning. Listening to podcasts is another really great way to learn a language. Similar to movies, it's really helpful hearing the language spoken outside a learning environment. Things are just more casual and can be easier to pick up on that way. One of my favorite Spanish podcasts is Coffee Break Spanish. These are really great sub 15-minute podcasts of very creative stories that I like to put on while I'm getting ready in the morning or having lunch or going for a walk. And depending on your level of fluency, audiobooks can also be really fun. Tip number 8 is to join a conversation group. I know this sounds so uncomfortable, and I really did not want to do it. But pre-COVID, I did join a conversation group, and it ended up being so much fun. We would meet on Thursday evenings at bars and restaurants and just sit at a big table and talk. There were people of all ages in the group as well as different fluency levels. So there were people there who spoke Spanish as their native language, and then also people who were just beginning to learn the language. It's super not intimidating. You just sit down and talk to whoever you want to, or you don't talk at all. It's entirely up for you. It wasn't at all a spotlight group discussion type setting where one person speaks at a time. It literally felt like just getting together with friends. Plus, how cool is it to be able to say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go meet my Spanish conversation group. And continuing along the lines of interacting with humans and just forming a relationship through the language, my next tip is to fall in love with the culture. Make it more than just about learning a language. Study the traditions and ways of life of people who natively speak the language. It will make everything so much more fun and just bigger than yourself. For example, it could be fun to make a meal from whatever country you're studying the language of, or listening to music from that country, looking at artwork, reading up on their politics. Develop an understanding of the culture and the traditions, and you will love the language so much more. And of course, my last tip had to be plan a trip to a country that speaks the language you're learning. I'm not sure that there's a better motivator than the excitement and even a little bit of fear of traveling to the country that you're learning about and getting to experience the culture firsthand, all while speaking the language you've been studying. I know that travel is at a standstill at the moment and not everyone can afford to travel internationally. I really haven't ever had extra money to travel abroad, but I have found amazingly affordable tickets on sites like Skyscanner, and then through just learning the language and making friends, I have actually been able to travel to countries like Spain and stay with host families or friends that I've made. So it is doable, and let me tell you, it was the most amazing experience, and I cannot wait to go back and visit mi familia de España and also visit new countries because, you know, so much of the world speaks Spanish. So here's to hoping for more travel in the future. Wishfully the near future, but at some point we'll be able to do it. So those are my tips. Feel free to try any or all of them. I really do practice most all of them over the course of a year. I'm definitely not perfect, but remember, something is better than nothing. If you were to learn just one new word a day, at the end of the year, you'd know 365 new words, which is incredible. So friends, here's to broadening our horizons, making connections, and cultivating new experiences. Por ampliar nuestros horizontes, hacer conexiones y cultivar nuevas experiencias. Gracias, amigos. Salud!